here in west central Ohio. Now what we're looking at here just to the east of Fort Wayne is a tornado warning now for Paulding County and parts of northern Van Wert County. We're looking at the main part of this storm really to push into Paulding County here in the next 15-20 minutes. This line moving very, very quickly. If we could zoom in, I'll have Wes Hauk here, our meteorologist, with me. He'll be kind of steering me along, and we'll see what this looks like. If we could take a zoom in here to Paulding County, Van Wert County. Now you see these little threat markers right here. These are what we call TVS signatures, tornado vortex signatures, and that's what gives us a little bit of an indication on where the strongest rotation is in this storm. And you can see severe thunderstorm warnings well out ahead of this line. That's indicating that there's some very strong winds with these storms in excess of 75 miles per hour. So here in Allen County, warnings already out, even though these storms just beginning to work into parts of Van Wert, Paulding, Defiance, and even into Mercer County to our south. So some very strong winds out ahead of these storms. So as we watch them pushing through here in the next hour or two, expect at least the potential for some damaging winds in excess of 70 miles per hour as these storms push through. But the storm that we're really focused on right now is where that tornado warning is, moving into Van Wert County and Paulding County right now, mainly the northern part of Van Wert County. And it looks like we have numerous reports of power outages with these storms as they've been pushing through, with winds reported of over 60 miles per hour, potentially over 70 miles per hour as they do push through. Again, the main threat with these storms is strong winds. Now we do have this tornado warning in effect, but as of now, there have been no confirmed reports of a tornado. Just very strong rotation here, pushing into parts of Paulding County and northern Van Wert County, sparking that tornado warning until 4 o'clock. But as of now, no confirmed reports of tornadoes. So good news there, but as this continues to push off towards the east, we're going to see that threat for very strong winds. That's my biggest concern with these storms as they push through. We'll see winds in excess of 70 miles per hour here in west central Ohio, and you can see these orange to yellow boxes. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings, and you can see how far out ahead of these storms they're actually issued in anticipation of those strong winds as these storms do push through. Wes, if we could widen this out a little bit, we'll take a wider look at these line of thunderstorms again. Of course, the storm that we're really worried about here is into Van Wert and Paulding County, but you can see this line really stretches all the way back into Indiana and now pushing into our western counties here in west central Ohio. So let's switch sources really quick, and we'll see what these storms look like in motion, and we can see them really pushing out of the west at about 50 miles per hour. These are fast-moving storms. And because of that speed, plus just the heat and instability in place today, we're expecting the biggest threat with these storms is very strong winds. Now, you get winds over 70 miles per hour, that's like a small tornado. So these are very serious storms. Even though there may not be a tornado warning for your county right now, though almost all of us here in west central Ohio are under a severe thunderstorm warning, winds over 70 miles per hour, that's a small tornado. That's the strength of a small tornado. So nonetheless, even if you aren't under a tornado warning right now like you are in northern Van Wert County into Paulding, still take these storms seriously because some strong winds being reported. We'll zoom out a bit. Get indoors to the lowest level, of course. If you're in the way of any of these thunderstorms, we're likely seeing some very strong winds, so you don't want to be by windows. These winds can easily blow out windows of 70 miles per hour or more. Stay away from windows, of course. Stay off of electric appliances because of lightning. And you want to stay out of the bathtub or shower because of lightning. You can be in it for a tornado warning, of course, but you don't want to have any water in there, the lightning concern there, of course. But if you don't have a basement, a bathroom is the next best place to be, an interior room in your building or a closet where there are no windows. So that's some safety tips to keep in remember as these storms do push through. Again, they're moving very quickly. You can see a very intense line of storms just pushing in to Van Wert, Paulding, and northern Mercer County right now. And this one storm, if we could switch back to our now Doppler radar, has prompted a tornado warning, and that is in Paulding County. Now we're seeing a lot of signs of rotation with this storm, and you can see here, here's what we're looking at. This is what we call our velocity, and this tells you what the winds look like inside of the storm. Winds coming either towards the radar or going away from the radar. So when you see the greens and the reds, those are different directions in wind, and you can see right where that tornado vortex signature is here over parts of Paulding County and even off to the south where you see the greens really close to the red. That's where the potential for the tornado may be. As of now, not seeing anything that would really set any alarms off here in our now Doppler radar. West, if we go a little further south, let's put it right over this area here into central Paulding County. Just to the north of the Scott area, and that's the area I think I would be most concerned with because that's where the initial tornado warning was issued. here about 15-20 minutes ago. So if we could put the velocity right over this area right here where those two rotation markers are, and this is a little more interesting here, of course. You see the brighter greens and you can see the reds pretty close to each other right here. There is rotation within this thunderstorm, so that's probably why this tornado warning has been issued for central Paulding County, and that's the part of the storm right now that we're most concerned with, is pushing off to the east-southeast at about 55 miles per hour. So it's moving very quickly. You see those two rotation markers right there as it continues to push into Putnam County and eventually towards the Kalida, Fort Jennings, and eventually even towards the Ottawa area right now in Paulding County, though. So this is the part of the storm just to the south of the city of Paulding where we're seeing the best rotation with this severe thunderstorm that has a tornado warning with it. And again, I want to stress we haven't heard any reports of a tornado on the ground, so that's good. The reason this warning has been issued is because there is a lot of rotation in the thunderstorm. So that's what we're seeing here as we do head through Paulding County and into northern Van Wert County, though I think the strongest rotation with this storm in Paulding County, not to let your guard down in northern Van Wert County, but the worst of the storm is to your north, and that's pushing off towards the east-southeast into Putnam County here at about 55 miles per hour. So that's where the strongest rotation is, where that tornado warning is, and it's pushing out ahead of the storm. You can see these orange boxes out ahead of that. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. That is because winds of excess of 70 miles per hour are expected with these thunderstorms. And as I mentioned earlier, 70-mile-an-hour winds can really do some damage. So you want to make sure that you're inside and in a safe place as these storms do push through. So you can see they extend all the way down into Van Wert County, even moving into northwest Mercer County right now. Don't want to forget about you. Let's zoom into Mercer County and see what that looks like down there, because you have some strong storms just pushing in, well, over the Rockford area and eventually the Spencerville area, and then towards the east, towards Wapakoneta and even the Buckland area here in the next probably 15 or 20 minutes. Wes has, we have 60-foot pine trees down, 60-mile-an-hour winds in the Delphus area. So that is showing you, if we zoom out a bit, why these warnings are being put out so far ahead of these storms is because these winds are strong, well out ahead of these thunderstorms, and we just got a report of pine trees down in Delphus as these storms just begin to push into Allen County here. So some serious storms here. The winds certainly, I think, the biggest concern. We do have the tornado warning for Paulding County and northern Van Wert. That's where the strongest rotation is right now, but we haven't heard any reports of tornadoes, so that's good news. Certainly, all of us under the gun here as these storms quickly push off towards the east at about 55 miles per hour here in west central Ohio. As you can see this line starting to bow a little bit here into Allen County, Putnam County, down into Auglaize. When you see that bow, that means there are some very strong winds associated with these storms, potentially over 70 miles per hour here out ahead of that line. So we'll continue to watch these storms push through, just beginning to push into Lima right now. Strong winds, the biggest worry with these storms. Here's what we're looking at here on our velocity. You're looking at some very bright reds along this line. Wes, if you could move up there, look into the Lima area, these bright red colors. That means these winds moving away from the radar very, very quickly. And that's what shows, kind of looks inside the thunderstorm and says, okay, here's these winds moving really, really fast off to the east, away from the radar that's in northern Indiana. And that tells me that there's some very strong winds with these storms, potentially over 70 miles per hour, especially right on the leading edge of these storms, just about ready to get into Lima here. So expect these strong storms to push into Allen County and then eventually into Putnam County, down into Auglaize County, and even into Shelby County to the south. So these storms pushing towards the east very quickly at 55 miles per hour, very strong winds associated with them, and these storms, again, will be out of here within the next hour and 15 minutes, and we're just beginning to hear the rain here on our roof at the station here in Lima. Some very heavy and much needed rain, but hopefully we'll get out of this without much damage. But again, the potential is there for winds to be over 70 miles per hour as these storms do push through.